There's something different about the Baltimore Ravens this year, and if you've been watching them closely, you can feel it. This isn't just another good Ravens team, this is a team that looks like it's on a mission. Every snap, every drive, every collision, you can sense the purpose. Even with the slow start, this team is clearly a contender. Because what we're seeing in Baltimore right now might be the most complete team in football. For years, the Ravens have lived in that frustrating middle ground. Too talented to count out, but too inconsistent to finish the job. Every season seemed to end the same way, flashes of greatness followed by heartbreak. But 2025, this feels different. This feels inevitable. Because the scary truth about the Baltimore Ravens is that they've finally figured it out. You can talk about scheme, roster depth, or coaching all you want, but it starts with Lamar Jackson. And this version of Lamar, he's a different animal. This isn't just a 2019 MVP version who broke records and made the league rethink the quarterback position. This is a more refined, more patient, more dangerous Lamar Jackson. He's no longer trying to prove he can throw from the pocket. He's mastering it. He's no longer running for survival, he's running because defenses can't stop it. Watch any Ravens drive this season, you'll see it. Lamar standing tall in the pocket, scanning the field, manipulating defenses with his eyes. And when it all breaks down, he doesn't panic, he punishes. The split-second burst, that effortless glide upfield, that sense of control, it's all back. Except now, he's more efficient than ever. He's completing passes at a career-high rate. He's spreading the ball around like he's a point guard. And the turnovers? Practically gone. Lamar has become the ultimate problem. Too smart to blitz, too fast to contain, and too accurate to doubt. And the Ravens have finally built the perfect system around him. When Baltimore brought in Todd Monken, there were questions. Could his spread-based, aired-out philosophy work with Lamar? Could this offense actually evolve beyond the run-heavy, smash-mouth identity the Ravens had clung to for years? The answer this season has been a resounding yes. Because the 2025 Ravens offense is balanced, versatile, and borderline unfair. They can win any way they want. If you stack the box to stop the run, Lamar will pick you apart with quick passes, seams, and crossers. If you drop into coverage, they'll gash you on the ground. This offense doesn't just attack, it adapts. And the pieces around Lamar have quietly become some of the best in football. Zay Flowers has gone from a promising player to one of the league's most electric playmakers. His route running is sharper, his chemistry with Lamar is effortless, and his acceleration after the catch is nightmare fuel for defenses. Then there's Rashad Bateman, who is finally healthy and showing why he was a first-round pick. He's become Lamar's go-to guy on tough third downs, using his size and precision to carve up man coverage. And if you thought the Ravens were just going to rely on wideouts, think again. Isaiah Likely has emerged as one of the most underrated tight ends in the league, a yards-after-catch machine who's turned into a matchup nightmare. The running game? Still devastating. Derrick Henry is still one of the most terrifying forces in football, a walk-in mismatch who turns grown NFL defenders into traffic cones. Even at this stage of his career, he runs with a level of power and violence that nobody else can replicate. Every carry feels like a dare. Try to tackle him and see how much it hurts. He's the rare back who doesn't just gain yards, he takes your soul with him. And when he gets going downhill, there's nothing in the league that can stop 250 pounds of pure momentum and bad intentions. It's no longer predictable. It's balanced, layered, and lethal. But what makes it truly scary is how calm Lamar looks in control of it all. He's not freelancing anymore, he's orchestrating. He's not trying to be Superman, he's just being himself. And when you combine Lamar's maturity with this level of weaponry, you get an offense that looks unstoppable. Everyone knows Baltimore's defense has always had an edge, but this year's defense, it's back to that 2000s level dominance, that punch you in the mouth, we own the field mentality. Because while everyone's been talking about Lamar, the Ravens defense has quietly become the best in football again. Let's start with the front seven. Justin Matabuki has evolved into a flat-out monster. He's not just collapsing pockets, he's wrecking entire blocking schemes. Every play you can feel his presence. Then there's the linebacker that sets the tone, Raquan Smith. Raquan plays like he's plugged into the Matrix, reading plays before they happen, covering ground that linebackers shouldn't be able to cover, and hitting with purpose. And the secondary, forget about it. Kyle Hamilton has taken that leap and turned into one of the most complete safeties in the NFL. He can line up anywhere, deep safety, slot, linebacker, and still dominate. His football IQ is unreal. And paired with Marlon Humphrey finally healthy again, this defense doesn't just cover, it suffocates. They disguise blitzes like art, they tackle in space better than anyone, and they have that signature Ravens swagger back, the kind that says you are not scoring today. It's easy to talk about stats, schemes, and star players, but the real reason the Ravens feel different this year comes down to culture. Because for the first time in years, it feels like the entire team is pulling in the same direction. Lamar has stepped into a true leadership role, not just the face of the team, but the heartbeat. His energy, his competitiveness, his belief, it's contagious. You see it in the locker room, on the sidelines, and even in how the defense plays. John Harbaugh deserves massive credit too. After all the criticism, the playoff heartbreaks, and the pressure to modernize, he's adapted. He's let Lamar take ownership of the offense. He's empowered the young stars, and he's restored that hard-nosed, no-excuses mentality that made the Ravens great in the first place. The team isn't arrogant, they're focused. They don't care about headlines, they care about execution, energy, and accountability. It's the kind of locker room that feels built for chaos. And when things get tough, when the lights get bright, that's when Baltimore looks the most dangerous. There have been moments this season that define this new Ravens identity. Games where you could feel that something had changed. The slow start didn't faze them. They knew what they were capable of and are now showing it on Sundays. These aren't lucky wins, they are statements, messages to the rest of the league. The Ravens aren't coming anymore, they've arrived. At each week, it's becoming harder and harder to find a weakness. Their offensive line has gelled into one of the most cohesive units in football, and their depth, it's absurd. It doesn't matter who's injured, who's tired, or who's doubting them. Someone always steps up. Here's the scary truth about the Baltimore Ravens. They've always been good enough to compete, but now they're good enough to dominate. They've got an MVP caliber quarterback playing the best football of his career. They've got a defense that looks like a championship unit. They've got a coach who's fully bought in. And most importantly, they've got belief. That belief that every championship team needs. That quiet confidence that says we're better than you and we know it. You can see it in the way Lamar smiles after a touchdown drive. You can see it in Raquan's eyes before a third down. You could feel it in the way every player swarms the ball, celebrates together, and plays like they're protecting something sacred. This isn't a team hoping to find themselves. This is a team that already knows exactly who they are. And that's what makes them so terrifying. Because when a team this talented, this balanced, and this motivated comes together, they don't just win games. They change the landscape of the NFL. Because what Baltimore is doing right now doesn't just look dominant, it looks inevitable. Every week they line up against teams that think they have an answer for Lamar Jackson. And every week those teams walk off the field looking like they just went 12 rounds with something they couldn't even comprehend. It's not just about winning, it's about the way they're winning. And that's where the scary truth really starts to sink in. Every team has an identity. For the Ravens, that identity has always been built around violence, discipline, and intensity. But this year, it feels smarter. They've found the perfect blend between chaos and control. When you watch their defense, it feels like you're watching organized mayhem. Guys are flying around, disguising blitzes, showing pressure from every angle, and yet it's all coordinated to perfection. You see Raquan Smith calling audibles mid-play, shifting players a half step before the snap like a conductor leading a symphony. You see Kyle Hamilton baiting quarterbacks into throws that look open until they aren't. And you see a defensive front that refuses to give quarterbacks a moment of peace. They're not just stopping teams, they're breaking them mentally. Because how do you prepare for a defense that morphs every drive? One series they're blitzing 6, the next they drop everyone into coverage. You can't outsmart them. You can't outmuscle them. You can only survive, barely. Teams come up with a plan and after one quarter it's gone. Baltimore takes away what you love most and dares you to try something new. By halftime, most offenses aren't even trying to win. They're just trying to breathe. And while the defense is suffocating opponents, Lamar Jackson is out there playing like he's watching the game in slow motion. It's almost unfair. Every time a play breaks down, he doesn't panic, he creates. Every time a defense brings pressure, he finds the perfect escape route. And every time the Ravens need a play, Lamar delivers something that makes you question if you're watching a human being. But the biggest difference this year isn't what Lamar does physically, it's what he's doing mentally. He's commanding his offense with total control. He's diagnosing coverages like a 10-year veteran. He's sliding protections, changing plays, and using his cadence to manipulate defenses. This isn't just Lamar the playmaker anymore. This is Lamar the field general. When you hear him talk post-game, it's all business. No drama, no headlines. Just focus. He knows this is his moment. He knows the window is wide open, and he's playing like a man who refuses to let it close. You can feel the hunger, not for stats, not for validation, but for respect. The kind of respect that comes when your name sits beside the greatest of all time. And this version of Lamar, he's on that path. While everyone fixates on Lamar's highlights, few realize how complex this new offense has become. This system isn't just about passing anymore. It's about making defenses wrong no matter what they choose. Pre-snap motion, layered concepts, option looks, it's all there. Every play has 2 or 3 built-in answers, and Lamar is reading them like a chess master. The Ravens can line up in heavy personnel and bully you downfield, then spread out 5 wide and torch you through the air. It's a nightmare to defend, and the chemistry between Lamar and his receivers, it's the best it's ever been. Lamar's hitting receivers in stride, picking apart defenses just like scouts said he couldn't. Even the running backs are getting in on the passing game, giving Lamar quick, easy outlets when defenses blitz. But what ties it all together is tempo. Baltimore can slow the game to a crawl, drain the clock, and suffocate you with ball control. Or they can go no huddle, keep your defense on the field and score in under a minute. They've become the one thing every defense fears most: unpredictability. The Ravens have always believed in building from the inside out, and this season, their offensive line has become the anchor of everything. Ronnie Stanley looks rejuvenated. Tyler Linderbaum has developed into one of the smartest centers in football, diagnosing blitzes, sealing off lanes, and giving Lamar those extra seconds that make all the difference. They're not just blocking, they're dictating. Every yard they gain feels like a message. We're stronger than you, we're tougher than you, and we'll prove it again next play. It's old school football in a modern system, a throwback to when teams won by breaking your will, not just beating your coverage. And the scary part? They can do it all day. By the fourth quarter, defenses are gassed. You can see it in their body language. Hands on hips, shoulders slumped, eyes glazed over. Because there's nothing more demoralizing than realizing you've played your best football for 3 quarters and Baltimore's just getting started. Behind every dominant team are players who don't get the headlines, but make everything possible. For Baltimore, those guys are everywhere. Role players who make this team work, coached to a point where Ravens culture is embedded in them. And all they know is 100% effort. They communicate, they anticipate, they erase mistakes before they happen. These guys don't get the love Lamar or Raquan do, but make no mistake, they're the backbone of this juggernaut. What separates the Ravens from almost every other team this year is their chemistry. It's real, you can feel it. Watch them after a touchdown. The celebrations aren't forced, they're collective. The defense hypes the offense backs the defense. There's no ego, no finger pointing, no divide. That is not common in today's NFL. When a team is winning, egos usually grow. But in Baltimore, it's the opposite. Lamar deflects credit. Raquan praises the offense. Harbaugh thanks the players. It's a complete buy-in, and it shows in the toughest moments. When they're backed up on their own goal line, someone always makes the play. When they need a long drive to close out a game, they execute it flawlessly. That's not talent, that's trust, and trust wins championships. Every year, there's one team that changes the way everyone else plays. This year, it's Baltimore, because what they're doing on both sides of the ball is forcing every team in the league to adapt. Defenses are having to spy Lamar and still getting burned. Offenses are trying to play faster just to avoid the Ravens' pressure and making mistakes because of it. You can see it across the league. Teams are trying to draft more mobile defenders, add more speed, adjust their playbooks, all because of how the Ravens are winning. That's when you know you've become the standard. They're not just competing for a title, they're reshaping how football is being played. And if that doesn't scare the rest of the NFL, it should. It's funny, you can measure speed, arm strength, completion percentage, sacks, turnovers, but you can't measure fear. And right now the Baltimore Ravens are the most feared team in football. Not because of trash talk or highlight reels, but because of inevitability. Because no matter what you do, they seem to have an answer. Because no matter how good your plan is, they'll rip it apart. That's the mark of a great team, and that's the mark of a team that's built for moments that matter. Every opponent comes in with hope. Every opponent leaves humbled. And somewhere along the line, the league stopped asking if the Ravens could hang with the elites and started wondering who could hang with them. Here's the real scary truth about the Baltimore Ravens. They're not peaking, they're evolving. Every game, every week, they look sharper, faster, more connected. Lamar's getting better reads, the defense is getting meaner, the offense is getting deeper, and it's not a fluke, it's a formula. One built on physicality, trust, and an obsession with greatness. You can call it swagger, you can call it dominance, but the truth is simple. This team has found its identity, and once the Ravens know who they are, the rest of the league better watch out. Because Baltimore isn't just scary, they're inevitable.